For some reason, when I'm working with neon, I go to this really zen place. And when you're in that place, it just flows to me to create the final piece. So there's a satisfaction in that, and there's a feeling of just completeness when I'm making the work. My name is Annesta, and I'm a contemporary artist based in Brooklyn, New York. Typically, when you see neon out in the world, it's a beer sign or a literal sign, store sign, an open sign, closed sign. My work is different because I'm pulling back the intensity of it and I'm making it more subtle, and I work within abstract shapes. You don't see neon in an abstract shape typically. So the glass shop that I work out of is called Brooklyn Glass, and it's based in Gowanus, Brooklyn. They have the perfect setup for artists. I mean, I get to experiment. They leave me alone. They also teach me if I need something. And I get this wide open space to just experiment and do what I need to do. And this is where people come to create neon, bend their work, and get their pieces pumped with the gas. I'm drawn to Brooklyn because of the creative community. There are so many amazing people here. I've been here for 11 years now, and it's been going strong. I am very much influenced by creative collaboration, exchanging ideas, always learning, always expanding knowledge, and Brooklyn was just a great place for that. When I create my neon work, I do not work it with a pattern. When I make the work, it's very organic and intuitive. I am creating my own shapes in real time right there, and if it doesn't work, I throw the piece away and start over. So it's very intuitive. My pieces are different because when I make them, I can never make the same shape twice because I don't use a pattern. I come up with a concept, right? So to me, that's probably the hardest. You know, I have a theme, I have a concept in my mind. Then once I have that down, I picked my color palette. And once I have all that down, I go to the shop and I pull the supply out, which is the glass, and then I start bending the neon and I form my shape there. Working with neon is physical because you've got flame, you've got to hold your piece a certain way, you've got this tube you're working with around your mouth, in and out, and then you're just around a lot of heat. So it's tough. So the tube in my mouth is a latex hose, which helps me control the air to the glass, to keep the air compressed in the glass. And if I don't have that tube in my mouth to keep the air going, the tube will collapse on itself. There are different gases that create different colors, and they're inert gases, meaning that they're chemically inactive. And those gases are helium, krypton, neon, argon, and xenon. Depending on the color you want, you would choose the gas, and you would need to understand the different gases to make the color that you want. My background is, well, I have to start with the Vietnam War because my parents, 5 years after the war, they escaped Vietnam on a boat with just 65 people. They were at sea for a week, and they were looted by pirates. And while this was happening, my mom was pregnant with me. She fled Vietnam, and then she was at a refugee camp for 3 months. And sorry, it's emotional. That's tough. And you know, the question of whether or not to keep me, you know, they were like starving. But because my father was a South Vietnamese infantry officer, they were granted to live in the United States. And then I was born shortly after. So that's a big part of my story because, you know, my parents had to face a lot of challenges and navigate this new country, not knowing the language. And me being born shortly after that, I had to absorb their challenges. So it was a little bit of a dark time for me. You know, I just remember going with them to the food, you know, the welfare to pick up food, and it was just tough, you know, like we didn't have very much. And for me, in that household, I didn't feel like I could express myself fully. I'm still finding myself working through things. So my studio is located in the Bushwick, Brooklyn part of town. And it's actually right in the center of so many artist studios. I like that I can call someone and get some advice really quick down the hall, and it's inclusive. My current series is very soft, and there's this vulnerability to it that I'm trying to expose in my work. I love the idea of alchemy and chemistry and the idea of transmutation. I also like the idea of the interplay of light and dark psychologically and on a superficial and physical level as well. And the ultimate idea that I really like is this concept of individuation as unity, you know, light and dark coming together. So that's always a constant theme that you see in my works. I try to make them have this kind of human quality and touch to them when I bend my work. So that's my way of exposing that, kind of accepting the imperfections in the work, and hopefully someone can see that when they look at it.